Good morning, good morning, good morning at Facebook Live. Hello, happy Wednesday. It's another day. I don't know about you guys. I had like the craziest night. I don't know how you're feeling this morning. Hello, Christy. Hello, good morning. Our fire alarms at our apartment went off at 2:15 this morning. And so it's just me, Joe's still gone. So it was me wrangling the three babies who were all terrified, by the way. All the cat's trying to get up on top of the cabinets. One of the cats is in the bathtub. The dog's freaking out. He's crying. He's jumping on me. I'm like, oh my God. And then my heart is racing, right? Because I don't know about you, but in our apartment, if one alarm goes off, all the alarms go off. And it's hello, welcome. I'm so happy that you're here. And all of the like fire alarms out in the hallway, they echo in the cement, right? And it starts to echo, and all of a sudden everyone's freaking out. All of the neighbors are outside. Everyone's freaking out. My cats are like in their crates, like trying to get out. So I throw them in the car. It was just a crazy morning. And then we were out there for like an hour before they finally decided it was just a bad smoke detector somewhere. They don't know where it is. So now I'm so tired. I'm so tired today, but I'm so excited I was able to get a couple more hours of sleep. But how are you guys today? How are you guys today? And I want to make sure that I'm saying your name right. Is it Nashira? I know I've asked this one other time, and I feel like such an awful human being for not remembering, because I see your stuff all of the time. And I feel awful that I don't remember, but I want to make sure I say it right. Hi, Rachel. Good morning. Hello, Katie. Welcome. So I want to talk about beating yourself up today. I want to talk a little bit about this idea of what it really means when we beat ourselves up, what it actually looks like, what it feels like, and truly how damaging it is, whether it's beating ourselves up of our body, how we're performing during sex, how we're making money in business, and how we're showing up in relationships. Like, the constant beating ourselves up is destroying us. And it's a vicious cycle, right? We've all been there where it's just like one after the other. It's like bad body day. Or I wake up feeling like crap about my body, and it just continues from there. It's like this constant vicious cycle that is getting in the way of everything that we want in life. No matter what you want in life, you beating yourself up, constantly re-injuring yourself, that's all that you're doing. Is you're like, it's almost like when you have an open wound and then you throw salt in it. And every time you beat yourself up, you're throwing salt in the wound, you're rubbing it around, and it never actually has the opportunity to heal. Or maybe it's like you have this wound, but you keep picking at the scab, so it's never actually healing. That's what you're doing when you're constantly beating yourself up. That's why when we just think, oh, well, once I lose 50 pounds, or once I make $10,000, or once I have all of the orgasms, then I'll be happy. Then it will make sense. Then I can stop beating myself up. And we use it as like this self-loathing, self-hatred, harm, really, in regards to self-motivation. We think that that's what's going to motivate us to lose 50 pounds, have all of the orgasms, and get whatever it is that we want in life. But it's not true. You're re-injuring yourself, and you're never actually healing. Good morning, Sarah. Rachel says, oh God, yes, the rabbit hole. Totally. So good morning, Amanda. So happy you guys are here. How are you, by the way? Feel free to share in the comments. Much more fun when this is a conversation. So what I want to talk about, so there's three different things. So I'm going to kind of use a concept that I have been studying, that I've been processing, that I've been integrating in my own life, and something that she explains beautifully in the book, Come As You Are, Dr. Emily Nagoski. It's a beautiful book about sex and really like the science behind it. And she talks about this idea of beating ourselves up, right? And there's three different things that we're doing. Basically, when you're beating yourself up, the reason I used the lion emoji in the title of this is because it's like there's this lion inside of you. When you're beating yourself up, you're creating, it's the stress cycle, right? Where you are having to run from the lion that is chasing you. But instead of a lion chasing you, there's a lion inside of you, right? So it's trying to escape. The lion is trying to escape when we're beating ourselves up, but it can't, right? It can't escape. Like, it's literally impossible for the lion inside of you to escape your body, right? It's like this threat. Think of it as this threat. Hello, Madison. Chelsea is here. Good morning. Hi, Tiffany. Hello, Elizabeth. Hello. Good morning, ladies. So we've got this line inside of ourselves. It's this threat, right? So we've got this, it's starting to create this stress when we start beating ourselves up in our body. It wants to escape, which is damn near impossible, like literally impossible for the lion to escape from within you. It wants to be conquered, right? So then we basically are self-destructing because we're trying to, conquer the shit that's inside of us, and we're trying to like beat ourselves up for beating ourselves up, right? Then it's even more, we're like throwing more fire into the threat and into the lion. So now there's like 8 lions inside of us that are creating all of this havoc and this chaos, or it's trying to be avoided. So this is when we shut down. Whether we numb out in watching Netflix, whether we numb out in drugs and alcohol, numb out in sex, numb out by just trying to like work it off. And we're like, if I could just get this weight off, then I'll finally be happy, right? We're like numbing it, or we're trying to escape it, or we're trying to conquer it. And all it's doing is, again, you've got this open wound of you hating yourself, basically, in this exact moment, whether it's your body, whether it's how you're performing during sex, whether it's how much money you're making, whether it's how successful you are, whatever it might be for you. It doesn't just have to be body image. And you're throwing salt in it, and you're re-injuring yourself, and you're re-injuring yourself, and you're re-injuring yourself. And basically, it's like this light is flashing. When you have these moments of beating yourself up, it's this red light flashing, right, of beep, 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 which sounds like the fire alarm, which all of my animals are probably going to freak. It's literally what it sounds like, except it echoes everywhere in the whole house and outside the house and all around the apartment. It's absolutely awful. But it's this red light flashing telling you, I am at risk. I am at risk. I must survive here. And our body either like shuts down. We've got all of this cortisol going crazy. We're stressing ourselves out, so we're making ourselves bloated. We're holding on to extra weight. We might be working out really hard. You might be doing the perfect workout, eating the perfect way, doing whatever you got to do to finally lose this weight, practicing the perfect strategy of how you saw in this video you watched of how to have sex. But your body, your stress hormone is telling you, I am at risk, shut down, right? We need to escape the lion, avoid the lion, conquer the lion. Right? And you're not getting to where you want to be. How many of you can relate to that? Chelsea says, yeah, I'm catching you live. Yay, so happy you're here. Rachel says, oh, Jesus, you're explaining my life currently. Hashtag, I needed this. Oh my God, right? So the goal is not to not have days where we beat ourselves up necessarily. That's impossible. It's like telling me that, well, once I am fearless, then I'll take the action. Okay, well, fearless isn't a thing. The fear exists for a reason, right? And not beating yourself up isn't really a thing, because like for me, I have 28 years of conditioning basically teaching me to hate the fuck out of my body and constantly beat myself up. I'm not going for perfection here. You're setting yourself up for failure. But the goal is to have fewer days that we're beating ourselves up. The goal is then to also, on the days that you are beating yourself up, I want you to go into self-compassion, self-love, self-kindness, self-acceptance. The fact of you just maybe crying, looking in the mirror and saying, you know what, I might not love myself today, but I can accept that this is where we're at. And I can accept that this is the conditioning that I have in my brain, and I'm going to take a deep breath, and I'm going to practice kindness for myself, compassion, gentleness, just as you would if your best friend came to you talking the way you're talking to your body. If your best friend came to you talking like that, or your daughter came to you talking like that, what would you tell her to do? And lean into your own advice, right? So I want you to think, when you're having this beating yourself up and you're having these thoughts and all of this shit going on, whose thoughts and stories and beliefs even are these? Because I'm going to tell you, a lot of times, they're not yours. We came into this world as this perfect little human baby of like, oh, I just want to eat you up. Like, everyone's like, you're so cute, and look at those little rolls and those dimples, and your body functions perfectly. It knows how to have an orgasm. You're masturbating in the womb. Like, we've got all of the know-how to do what we're supposed to do with our bodies, right? We show up in relationship, and we show up in relationship later in life because of how our parents showed up towards each other, or how our mentors or the adults in our life. So then we're noticing patterns in relationships. But I want you to stop yourself and say, whose thoughts, beliefs, or stories even are these that I'm having? If I'm having a bad body day and I'm looking at myself in the mirror and I'm crying, I'm thinking, what am I thinking about right now, and where did I learn this? Because I didn't come into the world as the little crying, pooping baby that was perfect in all of her roles and come into the world and I hated myself. I learned how to hate myself based on what the world told me to think or how I perceived it, correct? So I want you to think about, who are you following on social media that triggered that bad body day, right? What person in your life, maybe, are you thinking, if there's a relationship pattern that's not serving you, maybe you're noticing, oh my God, my mom used to be this way with my dad. holy shit, this isn't mine. And you can send it back. You can put it in a little container and you can energetically send it off to the astral. You don't need to do anything with it, but you can start to notice if you're feeling a certain way about your sexuality and you're feeling a lot of shame around it and you're like, where is this coming from? And you can trace it back to, oh, this is coming from that one thing that my youth leader said at church one time. Oh my God, that's not even mine. Why am I letting this run the show? It's not even mine. And we can start to send them off and we can start to move them and shift them and release them because they're not actually yours. Correct? Like, can you relate to that? Oh my gosh, amen. Oh, I love that. All the praise hands. I love it, love it, love it. So when you have this self-criticism, when you are beating yourself up, you can think of it in a couple different ways of whatever serves you best, right? It's kind of like I ask my clients, are you motivated by pain or are you motivated by pleasure? Like if you have a reward, does that motivate you, right? Or if you have if you're gonna experience pain, like basically having to, every time you miss a goal or every time you don't follow through on something you wanted to do every day, you have to send a check for $5 to the presidential candidate that you don't like. Right? Like whatever it is, are you motivated by, oh my God, if I don't do this, I'm going to have to do this? Or are you motivated by pleasure of, well, if I do this, I get this? And so in the book, she talks about two different ways that you can think of self-criticism. And you can think of it as like this little kitten, this cute little kitty, and this cute little kitten that was treated badly. Maybe you rescued this kitty and she's scared and she's afraid and she's hiding a lot, right? And your self-criticism inside is like this little kitten, or it's this little girl. It's this little girl version of you who was treated badly, or who someone told her she wasn't enough, or she didn't have a good enough body, or whatever it might be. You're thinking of it as like she needs love, and she needs tenderness, and she needs care, and she needs nurturing. She needs grace and compassion. She needs someone to hold her. This kitten just needs someone to protect her. Right? And you can treat your self-criticism that way, whether it's through journaling, meditation, inner child work, whatever it is. Or you can look at it as this enemy that needs to be like conquered and taken down. And it's like this self-criticism in me, I'm going to put it on this punching bag, I'm going to beat the shit out of it because I am stronger and I can overcome and I can conquer this self-criticism. Or maybe it's like you're punching the shit out of a pillow, or you're in a kickboxing class, or you're working out really heavy and you're throwing these heavy weights around and you're like thrashing and you're picturing yourself overcoming and conquering this enemy that's inside of you, which is self-criticism. Self-criticism doesn't belong. We would just have been conditioned to believe that it belongs. Think of it again, like media, who you follow on social media. Fucking go unfollow everything that makes you feel like you're not enough right in this exact moment. Anything that triggers you, you can unfollow it. You can have a social media detox or unfollow spree, whatever that looks like for you. You decide. If something doesn't make me feel good, now there are some times where I'm triggered by things and it's work I can do within myself, but it's rare, and it's more so I'm triggered when I'm like, oh God, this is like speaking to the things that I'm trying to overcome right now, so why do I continue to go back here? Like for me, I am like on the fuck it diet. I refuse to diet for the rest of my life ever. Ever, ever, ever will I ever diet again. And there's actually a book called The Fuck It Diet, which is really good, and an Instagram account. But I had to unfollow anyone that's talking about macros, anyone that's talking about containers, anyone that's talking about these things, because it's not serving me. It's great for them. I'm not judging them. I'm not shaming them. They're not bad people, but it makes me question myself, and it makes me go back into old habits and old patterns and old shit of being the one who dieted since I was 12. For a whole 15 years, I was on a diet of some sort. My mom was always on a diet. My grandma's always on a diet. We were all body conscious in my life. And I had to unfollow those people who constantly triggered that for me so that I can heal it. So I stopped being triggered and I stopped seeing it, and it stops throwing salt in my wound so I can finally heal, right? So I want you to think of it as this way, and then I want you to complete the cycle. When you feel the self-criticism, when you feel the beating yourself up happening, right, whether you see it as this little kitten or you see it as this enemy that needs to be conquered, I want you to think of it then as, how can you complete the cycle? Do you need to cry? Do you need to get out a good sweat? Do you need like physical activity to move that energy through? Emotion is stored stagnant energy in the body. We need to move it out, right? You need to feel it, process it, see what it has for you sometimes, and then cycle it out. Where if you just sit in it, or if you just ignore it, or you avoid it, or you bury it, or you're trying to escape it, you're gonna constantly be having this stagnant emotion, which actually creates extra weight and bloat would be the word, in your body. So when you can start to see these emotions and you can complete the stress cycle of the lion trying to get out and basically feeling like you're like dying from the inside out, and you can complete the cycle and move it, you can find what's on the other side: self-kindness, self-acceptance, self-love, grace, compassion, freedom, liberation, peace, calm, confidence, right? And in those moments, I want you to tell yourself that you're safe, because when we have a lion inside of us trying to escape, we feel this threat. What's happening is that we don't feel safe. We don't feel like we literally are saying, I'm at risk, I'm at risk, I'm at risk, and we're shutting down. So I want you to go into, I am safe, and do the thing I taught you before. I am safe. I am safe. I am safe. And like giving yourself that nurturing touch, giving yourself that tenderness, that care, literally treating yourself. If you have kids, or if you want to have kids, how would you have this conversation with your daughter if she came to you with it? And I want you to give yourself the same grace and compassion that you would give her, because a lot of times we didn't have that growing up. Our generation is very different than how we grew up, and it's not bad about anything. Our parents did the best they could based on how their parents did, based on how their parents did. Like, it's generational work. You have the opportunity to change the cycle. And a lot of times the way you would treat your daughter in this 1222, 222, is how you would treat your then inner child, who needed to be nurtured and cared for and loved and held and told she was enough and told that she was perfect and she was beautiful and every single part of her had a place in this world, and it didn't dictate her worth or her value. Just as you're going to tell your daughter this or your niece this. For me, I have nieces and nephews. I don't have kids. I don't know if I ever will. But for me, I look at nieces and nephews. And I look at the way I treat them as the way I would treat the little girl version of me who's still a part of me. And she just didn't get what she needed when it came to her body. She learned a lot of shit that isn't real, that tried to change her and shift her and break her for 15 years of dieting, until one day I said enough is enough. And that's the work that I've been doing and creating in Body for You for the last year of my life. And the 6-week program I created, we start tomorrow again. So we have a few hours left to join us through tomorrow night. But this is why I want to talk about this. Rachel says, I don't know why I never thought of that, treating myself the way I do my kids. Right. We're so hard on ourselves. We are so hard on ourselves. And it's re-injuring us and re-injuring us and re-injuring us, and we're not able to heal. And then we wonder, why isn't the personal development working? What am I doing wrong? Why is it not working for me? It's working for everybody else. And I'm here to tell you, it's not what you're doing, it's who you're being. Who you're being matters. Your energy around it, your beliefs around it, the stories. 95% of how we show up in the world is subconscious. It's in the back of our brain, based on memories, based on stories, based on conditioning. 5% of how we show up is conscious. So it's crazy, because what's happening is 95% of our lives is coming from back here, which is a lot of times from 0 to 7. The ages from 0 to 7 when we were kids is the majority of our conditioning. The majority of what we model now and what we believe now came from when we were 0 to 7, because we didn't have the capacity to think for ourselves yet, or decipher right versus wrong, or decipher what our truth was. We just took on anything that the people in our lives at that time, we took that on as our own. And so in our adult lives, we're operating from ages 0 to 7 back here. And I'm sorry, but 7-year-old version of me does not get to dictate my life as a 28-year-old woman, right? So why am I letting that happen? And how do I shift it? I start to be kind to myself. I start to catch myself. I start to complete the cycle. I start to rewrite the stories and send them back to whose they were and know that they don't have to be mine. I start to rewrite and shift how I'm showing up. If I look at myself in the mirror and I go, oh my God, I go, wait, consciously, I'm choosing not to have that reaction. And I just had that reaction. I'm not going to beat myself up about it. I'm going to notice, what do I love about myself right now? Or how can I be kind to myself right now? Or how can I treat myself well right now? What's coming up for healing here? All it is another layer of healing. It's all that it is, right? And so I want you to think about that how you show up in one area is how you show up in every area, right? Every area of your life. How I show up in sex is how I show up in business. How I show up towards my body is how I'm going to show up on live video. How I show up with money is how I'm going to show up in my relationship, right? Money is a relationship. It's all energy. How we're showing up in one area is how we show up in most other areas. And so I want you to ask yourself, who are you being in your business? Who are you being about your body? Who are you being in sex? It all is connected, especially as females. Everything for us is like this interwoven web, this intricate web, all like this. And how we have all the tabs open all the time. Am I right? We got all the tabs open. And so for us, it's really important how you're showing up about your body when you get naked in front of the mirror before you get in the shower at night. How is that the same as how you're showing up when you go to have sex with your partner? How is that affecting that? Is it making you aroused when you're crying in the mirror? Or is it making you feel super self-conscious and shame and you're feeling a lot of old shit come up and you just shut it down because this doesn't feel good, and then you try to go have sex and you're like, I'm not really feeling it tonight, right? Or you are walking through life and someone gives you a compliment, but you are like, that couldn't possibly be true. So you're like, oh, whatever, it's fine. And you shut it down, and then the universe tries to bring you money and someone tries to pay for your dinner and you're like, oh my God, no, I got it. And you don't let them pay for your dinner and you didn't receive that. How you receive one thing is how you receive most things. It's all interconnected. That's why Embody is so freaking near and dear to my heart, because this affects our body image and our sexuality, our femininity, our confidence, our masculine, feminine energy, harmonies, like everything that's going on is affecting how we're showing up in every freaking area of our lives. This work is needed. This work is needed. And they're all key components in how we're showing up. And that's why I walk you through this process step by step to unlock your codes, to unlock your keys to success, your keys to abundance, your keys to confidence, like all of these pieces. When you start to feel confident in your body, when you start to feel confident about being a woman and reclaiming your power and being in ownership of your power and being in your femininity, but also being in total ownership of your masculine energy within you as well, when you start to be super excited about your sexuality instead of ashamed, you shift the way that you show up, you shift the energy, and you shift of which you attract. Like it all is correlated. Rachel says, hello, Taylor. Hi. Taylor says, I just did a new NLP practice on this last night that really tapped into my subconscious and my stories around fear. I love that. Beautiful. I love that. So is this your missing link? Did this resonate with you today? Right? And could this be the missing link that is getting you from where you want to be? I believe that it is for the majority of people, not everybody, but there were plenty of people that took Embody last time that had other things around maybe their sexuality. Maybe body image was like, oh, that's not terrible for me, but okay, I really want to tap into that. Or there's women who are chronic dieters that were like, I want to fuck the diet forever. Or there were health coaches that were like, I want to be able to infuse this self-love piece. I want to be able to infuse the sexuality piece, but I have to go through it first. Now, it's not just taking my program, taking notes, and then going and teaching it. I need you to integrate and experience and process it and have your own journey with it. And eventually I would love to have a certification where you can teach this stuff like verbatim and have like all of the tools laid out for you. I think that that's like my next huge big goal. But I had a lot of health coaches take this, and I think it's really freaking important. Health coaches, relationship coaches, business coaches, life coaches. And I had plenty of people that are not entrepreneurs, because this doesn't have to do with like X plus Y equals Z. Business. Business is an extension of our soul. Selling is an extension of our soul. If my soul is tired and exhausted and drained and hates itself and can't even possibly look at itself in the mirror, how is that affecting how I'm creating success in my business, right? But a lot of people use this in just shifting the way that they're parenting, and shifting the way they're showing up in their career, their 9 to 5, and shifting the way that they're showing up in their relationship in the bedroom. Right? It's all of these key pieces. And what's cool is that, as my friend Andrea wrote beautifully this morning, that as I free myself around my body image and sexuality and these different pieces that we're going to go into inside of Embody, I free my future children. I free future generations. I free my nieces and my nephews, my sister, my mom, my grandmother, my aunts. I free everyone. I free the world. It's a ripple effect. And the generational cycle, the vicious cycle of beating ourselves up and that being normal, the vicious cycle of constantly dieting and never being enough, it ends here. But you have to be willing to go first. And whether that is working with me alongside this with a small group of women inside of Embody, we would love to have you. We start tomorrow. Or if this just means starting to put into place some of these pieces we talked about today. right? And starting to actually integrate some of this work and starting to choose self-kindness instead of self-criticism, catching yourself when you're beating yourself up and complete the cycle, whatever this looks like for you, the work starts now. And it's not even always what we're doing, but it's who we're being about it that matters. So really, really, really let this sink in. What would you tell your daughter? What would you tell your niece? What would you tell your best friend if they came to you hurting the way that you're hurting? And would you just be like, oh, whatever, just get over it? Or this is just life? Or no, la, 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 it's not happening? Or would you hold them and nurture them and feel with them and be in it with them and love them and give them care and nurturing and gentleness and hold them while they cry? And I want you to do the same thing for yourself, okay? So we start tomorrow night. It starts with you. We start Embody tomorrow night. We have our very first training at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I have a small group of women that's incredible already. I love each and every single human that is in there, and you would be the perfect addition if you feel called to this work. If you have questions about it, let me know. Feel free to message me. 3 different payment options. There's a pay in full option, which does save you a little bit, or there's 2 different payment plan options. One of them is an extended payment plan. So you'll be paying, you don't have to pay as much up front, but then you're paying it slower over the time, and then you finish paying like a couple weeks after we're done. So you kind of have it spread out a little bit over time. And I'm super excited. There's 2 trainings every single week. We've got the free secret private Facebook group that is a part of it as well. And we have the group coaching sessions twice a week. So there's so much goodness in this program. It's so near and dear to my heart. A lot of people have asked me if I'll be running this again. And I will, but it won't be till the fall or the winter. Because for me personally, like I normally don't run programs this close next to each other, but you had been asking about it. My soul was like leading me to this because summer truly is such a perfect time to take this program, because I want you to actually live your life this summer. And I don't want your body to stop you. I want you to have the hottest sex of your life now. I don't want you to have to wait until fall. So that's why I decided to run it again. So let me know. The sisterhood in there, the safety in there, the sacred container that's already started is going to be so incredible, and I'm so excited for you to be able to plug into it. If you have questions, let me know. I love you guys. Thank you for being here with me. Happy Wednesday, almost Friday. I know Friday's such a vibe, and I can't wait to see you guys soon. So love you so much. I'll see you on the Embody call tomorrow, and we'll talk soon. Bye, guys.